Good, happy Tuesday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, body of missing hiker recovered in Lincoln. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
The Auto Fair year-end event. Now you'll get our lowest price on every new Ford, Honda, Hyundai, Nissan, Volkswagen, and Subaru. View our entire inventory at autofair.com with 8 convenient locations in Manchester, Nashua, Chelmsford, Stratham, Haverhill, and Plastow. So if you want our best deals of the year right now, Auto Fair makes it happen. Autofair.com.
Auto Fair makes it happen.
It was just after 8 o'clock on Christmas morning that Fish and Game officers were alerted of an overdue hiker who had planned on hiking one of the 4,000-footers in the White Mountain National Forest on Christmas Eve day. Fish and Game officials say 26-year-old John Holden, who is shown here from photos on his Facebook page, was planning on aggressively making the nearly 9-mile trek alone to the summit of Bond Cliff.
He was looking to go about an 18-mile hike, in a day. He texted his parents, is my understanding, late in the day around dinner time on Christmas Eve to tell them he had reached the summit of Bond Cliff.
He told his parents he would be home in Jefferson, Massachusetts sometime at around 11 o'clock that same night. But when Christmas morning arrived, Holden hadn't returned and he couldn't be reached by phone. That prompted his parents to call New Hampshire Fish and Game. An officer was sent out on a snowmobile to see if he could find Holden, but when there was no sign of him, a team of 3 officers headed up by snowmobile and then hiking their way to the summit. After dark, they found a day-old single set of footprints in the snow, which they followed. At the summit of Bond Cliff, they found Holden's body. But instead of returning to the base that night, the crew was told to stay put.
The problem at that point was the weather was extreme. It was 15 to 20 below zero. There were high winds. It was late in the day, and so we made the very difficult decision of asking those officers to stay with him for the evening to camp out, and those guys used an emergency shelter that they had and hiked down into the trees a bit and stayed up there for the night.
The next morning, the 3 Fish and Game officers were rescued with the help of an Air National Guard helicopter. Holden's body was also brought down. Holden was considered an experienced hiker, and Fish and Game officers say that he had the adequate equipment with him, but likely died of hypothermia. An autopsy is planned. In Concord, Suzanne Rowntree, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Boy recovering after suffering serious injuries in Christmas car accident. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
Year-end event. Now you'll get our lowest price on every new Ford, Honda, Hyundai, Nissan, Volkswagen, and Subaru. View our entire inventory at autofair.com with 8 convenient locations in Manchester, Nashua, Chelmsford, Stratham, Haverhill, and Plastow. So if you want our best deals of the year right now, Auto Fair makes it happen. Autofair.com.
Auto Fair makes it happen.
Is quite the ordeal for this little boy. Ethan had surgery earlier this morning for his injuries sustained in that crash. His father tells me he seems to be in good spirits as his road to recovery now begins.
This is 8-year-old Ethan Rollins, still smiling despite a cast on each leg and spending his Christmas in the hospital.
It said this is the worst Christmas, and it wasn't something he put on his list.
Jax Cross, Ethan's father, says his son had just spent Christmas morning at his house in Raymond and was picked up by his mother to continue his holiday celebrations in Manchester. The two were traveling in a car with a few others heading towards the intersection of Chestnut and Salmon Streets when all of a sudden
they were struck by a driver and everyone in the vehicle was injured.
Ethan bore the brunt of the impact.
He had a broken right femur and a broken left ankle. The left ankle was less of a concern, but the femur was broken and separated. So
Police say the driver of the other car pulled out into the intersection and did not see the vehicle Ethan was traveling in. Ethan was rushed to Catholic Medical Center in Manchester and later transported to Dartmouth Hitchcock in Lebanon, where he underwent surgery this morning.
they just finished pinning it and putting him back together, and he's sleeping right now.
Described as an avid sports lover, the injuries will end Ethan's basketball season and will force him off his feet for some time. But his dad says, despite all that, he is lucky to still have his son.
So, and the outpour of support from everybody's been immense and very well appreciated.
And now Ethan's family was hoping to get him home tonight, but it appears he may have to spend at least one more night in the hospital. Now, as for the driver at fault involved in this accident, he was given a summons for failure to yield the right of way. Live in the studio, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Car catches fire outside Manchester Market Basket. Let's take a listen to this video from New Hampshire One News.
You help all the people who love that person.
A car caught on fire outside the Manchester Market Basket, damaging two neighboring cars. The Manchester Fire Department received the call about 1:50 p.m., and it took them about 15 minutes to control the fire. The one that initially caught fire at the 460 Elm Street parking lot was a total. While the other cars affected received damages, the department said this was not a suspicious fire and no cars exploded. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. Obama versus Trump. Dispute erupts over who would have won. In an alternate universe in which President Barack Obama ran for a third term against Donald Trump would have won. No surprise, the president and president-elect disagree. This is how 2016 could end for stocks. Stocks could move higher, but gains may be limited even though it's Santa rally time in the week ahead. Fight breaks out at malls across United States. Disturbance that included gunfire, massive brawls, and food court fights played out at more than a dozen malls across the country in what proved to be a chaotic day after Christmas. The mall incidents, which ranged from minor meals to mass evacuations, occurred nationwide from Colorado to Tennessee, Texas to New Jersey. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday. See you back here later on today. Goodbye, everyone.